All right, so let's get inside the mind of a coach and talk about this progression. Remember, the progression is stance, grip width, grip style, and then elbows. So the first thing we have to do is make sure that the client still has an understanding of the stance. So we look down at their feet, we say get to your squatting stance. Remember, that's heels in line with the shoulders. So if that is out of position, my eyes go there and say, okay, move your heels to in line with your shoulders. So I'm making sure I'm referencing back to the things I previously taught, not just assuming that they have that squatting stance. So eyeballs go to feet, because people will screw that up. You'll say get to a squatting stance and that will be on the wrong stance. So first and foremost, make sure you revisit that stance. That squat won't work otherwise. Next, we have to talk about the grip. And first we're gonna go grip width and kind of where it sits. Now, my little trick for this is I actually want it to sit on the frame of the body. So I have people hold it out front, fingers under, and actually put it up into their shoulder. Nice, and then take one hand and extend it out front. There we go, and lift the hand past eye level. A little higher, there we go. And then find a little notch it sits in on the shoulder. And this right here, I say this is genetically designed to hold a barbell. That's where the bar sits. And if it's not sitting in that notch, then we're not in the right place. So I find to make sure that they know where it sits on the shoulder, then I go ahead and relax. That position was a little compromised with the hand out front. And then from there, we're gonna go into grip width. Grip width, as I'm doing this, I wanna make sure that the grip is outside the shoulders. So I'll say, hey, remember where we just had it? We're now gonna bring it up to the shoulders, and we're gonna try to set it in that same spot, but then my eyeballs are gonna go to the hands. I'm gonna look at where his hands are in relation to his shoulders. The two most common things we'll see are either hands going too narrow, go ahead, hands in narrow like that, in which case we'd have them widen the hands out, or the hands going too wide and they'd end up in like a big W looking thing. And the main thing if the hands go too wide is they won't be able to get their elbows very high. So there's kind of a balance point. So my eyes as a coach go to where they are in relation to the shoulders, but we can think just outside the shoulders. So once we get the width that we're looking for, we make those adjustments as they happen. We'll then look to the grip style. Grip style is how they're holding onto the bar. And we start everybody with a more easy grip, I should say, which is like 1 to 2 fingers on the bar. So they've got a couple fingers on the bar, they can make a cool peace sign, like a photo, whatever, they do the whole thing, put them under there, and then they get to that same position. So you're like, okay, look, are they in the same position? They got that good grip. Have them come in and out of this where they're looking at that grip, and you as a coach can visualize if they're tighter and you can see that their elbows aren't going as high, they're gonna probably keep a looser grip. Yeah, and if they're a bit more mobile, like they're just looking like they're quite easy in that position, we can look to take a maybe tighter grip, so a little bit more fingers around the bar to make it so they're able to actually hold on to that object as they go down, transfer into things like thrusters and cleans, and you can make those comparisons. So look with your eyes at their hands in relation to their shoulders, and then also what the struggle is with their upper body. One last little side point in this position here is we're gonna now go into the elbows being up, but we don't want just elbows up, we also want the elbow angle to be good. So the final piece of the progression is talking about the elbows. And the desire for these elbows is to be pretty flat to the ground, but not everyone will be able to do this. So this kind of goes in conjunction with the last piece of the progression that we did, which was those fingertips. So we first start people in this easy place, and we ask them to drive the elbows up. And we're looking for effort here. Now this lovely swole gentleman, go ahead and relax. This guy can get his hands up nice or his elbows up nice and high, and it sits on the frame of his body. A lot of people, when you go to do this, when they go to push their elbows up, it'll lift the bar off their body like this. He's seen it a million times. I've seen it a million times. And that's okay. And we can stress for people, like when we put some pressure down on the bar, that's where it's gonna sit for you. But understand that as a coach, you'll watch it and say, hey, if you gotta hook your chin on it, if you gotta do what you gotta do right there, this might be where we're at for the moment. So go ahead and relax. So the last piece of the progression is looking at those elbows though, and getting people in and out of it, trying to get a nice high elbow. But like I said at the very beginning of that piece, we also need to look at where the elbow goes. So we're looking at the elbow's height as well as where it is in space. So if he gets it up and he's got a grip that makes sense for the athlete, we want the elbows about a 45 away from the body, the same place you would do for a push-up. That's ideal. Now, if someone's tighter, they actually might be a little bit more caved here. So they might be there in an effort to find range from the lat and the shoulder. And that's an acceptable position, but it's something that we want to maybe make note of to eventually work them to a little bit further out. Now, occasionally you'll randomly find a person who's way far out, and then you're like, hey, just get those elbows in a little. But our eyes have to go to that relationship, also the relationship of the hand to the elbow to where the bar sits on the shoulder. But that's essentially it. So once again, if we go through that full progression, it's stance, Then it goes to grip width. Yep. Then it goes to grip style, how you're holding onto the bar. Then it goes to elbows height, and then elbow position. Eyes going to each of the specific places. That's our front squat.
Thank you for watching, and if you found that helpful and you want more of this kind of content, we have literally hundreds of videos just like this, from practical tips and tricks to theory to everything in between, all in the knowledge. And if you want to learn from me directly and our cohort of level 4 staff members, then we also have the Knowledge Pro, which we do weekly calls and live interaction and homework and everything else in between. If you want any more information or would like to have a free trial of the knowledge, please click the link in the description below and get after it.